Hello, you lovely people. So the 6.1 beta is finally out, and we have only one new character coming in this version. Also, we have information on the banners coming in version 6.1, along with the full kit details of Nefer and her signature weapon. So, without any delay, let's get right into today's video. First, let's take a look at the full kit of Nefer. Nefer will be a 5-star Dendro Catalyst user coming in this version. Her normal attack performs up to 4 kicks that deal Dendro damage with the ferocity and grace of a striking serpent. During her charged attack, Nefer enters the Slither state, consuming stamina to move rapidly forward for up to 2.5 seconds. When the skill button is released, the duration ends or stamina runs out. Nefer will exit the Slither state and consume a certain amount of additional stamina to deal Dendro damage to opponents. Additionally, unleashing the elemental skill or sprinting while Nefer is in the Slither state will not cause her to exit the state. During her plunging attack, Nefer plunges towards the ground from midair, damaging all opponents in her path and dealing AoE Dendro damage upon impact with the ground. Her normal skills at level 9 scale, something like this. The first strike deals 64.72% damage, followed by a second strike dealing 63.85% damage. The third attack delivers 2 rapid hits, each dealing 42.9% damage, while the fourth and final strike concludes the sequence with 103.69% damage. Her charged attack unleashes a powerful blow, dealing 222.49% damage. This attack consumes 50 stamina to activate, and using it drains 18.15 stamina per second. With her plunging attack, a standard plunge impact deals 104.4% AoE damage, where her low plunges inflict 208.76% damage, while high plunges deal 260.76% damage upon landing. Now let's take a look at her elemental skill, which is called Senate Strategy Dance of 1,000 Nights. With her elemental skill, Nefer charges forward, dealing AoE Dendro damage and entering the Shadow Dance state. While in the Shadow Dance state, if you have at least one Verdant Dew, Nefer's charged attacks will be replaced with the special charged attack Phantasm performance. And her elemental skill has 2 initial usages. At level 9, her elemental skill scales something like this. The elemental skill deals initial damage based on 129.85% of attack plus 259.7% of elemental mastery. Upon activation, it grants 3 usages of Phantasm performance and initiates the Shadow Dance state, which lasts for 9 seconds. While active, the Phantasm performance command can be used when Nefer is on the field. During this state, the first hit deals 41.88% attack plus 83.77% elemental mastery, and the second hit deals 54.4544% attack plus 108.9% elemental mastery. When a shade is on the field, its 3-hit sequence deals 163.2% elemental mastery twice and 217.6% elemental mastery for each respective strike. And her elemental skill has a 9-second cooldown. If you're wondering what Shadow Dance is, it works something like this. After using the elemental skill, Nefer will enter this state. While in the Shadow Dance state, if you have at least one Verdant Dew, Nefer's charged attacks will be replaced with a special charged attack Phantasm performance. Nefer will exit the Shadow Dance state when she unleashes 3 Phantasm performance or the state's duration ends. Also, Verdant Dew works something like this. When party members trigger Lunar Bloom reactions, the party will receive such a resource. Like, your party will receive 1 Verdant Dew every 2.5 seconds for 2.5 seconds after triggering a Lunar Bloom reaction. Your party can have up to 3 Verdant Dew. If you trigger another Lunar Bloom reaction during this time, the duration of this effect will be reset. Now let's take a look at her elemental burst, which is called Sacred Vow True Eyes Phantasm. During her elemental burst, Nefer grant revelation, the mysteries of the false through Thoth's true sight, dealing AoE Dendro damage to opponents ahead. When unleashed, Nefer will consume all veils of falsehood to increase the damage dealt by the current elemental burst. And here's how Veil of Falsehood works. After absorbing Seeds of Deceit via the passive talent A Wager of Moonlight, Nefer gains this effect, thereby increasing the damage dealt by her Phantasm performance. Each stack of Veil of Falsehood increases the damage dealt by Nefer's Phantasm performance by 10%. The initial maximum number of stacks is 3, with each stack lasting for 9 seconds, and keep in mind each stack's duration is counted independently. At level 9, her Elemental Burst scales something like this. The Elemental Burst delivers a 2-stage attack. The initial strike deals 381.88% of attack plus 763.77% of Elemental Mastery as damage. This is followed by a more powerful second hit that deals 572.83% of attack plus 1,145.66% of Elemental Mastery. Each stack of Veil of Falsehood, possessed upon casting, increases the damage of both hits by 37%. Her Elemental Burst has a cooldown of 15 seconds and requires 60 energy to activate. Now, let's take a look at her passive skills. Her first passive skill is called a Wager of Moonlight. With this passive skill, Nefer will be granted the corresponding buff effects based on the party's moon sign. If the moon sign is Ascendant Gleam, when she unleashes her elemental skill, any Dendro cores and Bountiful cores on the field will be converted to Seeds of Deceit, and any Lunar Bloom reactions triggered in the following 15 seconds that would create Dendro cores or Bountiful cores will instead create Seeds of Deceit. Seeds of Deceit cannot trigger Hyperbloom or Burgeon reactions and will not burst. Also, when Nefer unleashes a charged attack or Phantasm performance, she can absorb Seeds of Deceit within a certain range, gaining 1 stack of Veil of Falsehood for every seed absorbed. When this effect gains 3 stacks, or when the 3rd stack's duration is refreshed, Nefer's Elemental Mastery will be increased by 100 for 8 seconds. Her second passive skill is called Daughter of the Dust and Sand. With this passive skill, each point of Nefer's Elemental Mastery beyond 500 will increase her attack by 0.4. A maximum of 200 attack can be gained in this manner. Her third passive skill is called Moon Sign Benediction Dusklit Eve. With this passive skill, when a party member triggers a bloom reaction, it will be converted into the Lunar Bloom reaction. With every point of Elemental Mastery that Nefer has will increase Lunar Bloom's base damage by 0.0175%, up to a maximum of 14%. Additionally, when Nefer is in the party's moon sign will increase by 1 level. Her fourth passive is called Conspiracy of the Golden Vault. This passive skill gains 25% more rewards when dispatched on a Nodcry expedition for 20 hours. Additionally, as the head of the Curatorium of Secrets, Nefer seemingly has the ability to obtain intelligence from a variety of sources, intelligence that certain factions in Nasha Town might find extremely interesting. Now, let's take a look at her constellations. With her C1, the base damage for Lunar Bloom reactions caused by Nefer's Phantasm performance is increased by 60% of her Elemental Mastery. This effect is also boosted by Veil of Falsehood. Her C2 enhances the effects of the Ascension talent called a Wager of Moonlight, extends Veil of Falsehood's duration by 5 seconds and increases its stack limit to 5, as well as causing Phantasm performance to deal up to 150% of its original damage. When Nefer unleashes her elemental skill, she will instantly gain 2 stacks of Veil of Falsehood. Additionally, when Veil of Falsehood gains 5 stacks, or when the 5th stack's duration is refreshed, Nefer's Elemental Mastery will be increased by 200 for 8 seconds instead. But you must first unlock the Ascension talent, a Wager of Moonlight. Her C3 and C5 increases the level of her elemental skill and elemental burst by 3. With her C4, when Nefer is on the field and in the Shadow Dance state, you will gain Verdant do 25% faster. Additionally, while Nefer is in the Shadow Dance state, nearby opponents will have their Dendro resistance decreased by 20%. This effect will be removed when Nefer exits the Shadow Dance state or after she strays a certain distance away from the opponents for 4.5 seconds. And lastly, with her C6, when Nefer unleashes Phantasm performance, The second stage of damage dealt by herself will be converted to deal AoE Dendro damage equal to 85% of her elemental mastery. Additionally, when the attacks from Phantasm Performance end, an extra instance of AoE Dendro damage equal to 120% of Nefer's elemental mastery will be dealt. All of the aforementioned damage is considered Lunar Bloom damage dealt by Phantasm Performance. Also, with her C6, the Moon Sign Ascendant Gleam Nefer's Lunar Bloom damage is elevated by 15%. And that's everything about the full kit of Nefer. What do you think about her kits so far? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, the information you all were waiting for. Let's take a look at the banners we will be getting in version 6.1. So, in version 6.1, we will have banners for Nefer, and along with her, there will be Arlecchino, Ferwina, and Zhongli. And as for the 4 stars, there will be Lanyan, Yunjin, and Rosaria. Now, let's take a look at the signature weapon of Nefer. So her signature weapon is called the Reliquary of Truth. It has crit damage as the substat. Also, this weapon has a base attack of 542 and 88.2% crit damage as a substat at level 90. The passive skill of this weapon is something like this. Crit rate is increased by 8%, 10%, 12%, 14%, and 16% respectively on each refinements. When the equipping character unleashes an elemental skill, they gain the Secret of Lies effect, where elemental mastery is increased by 80, 100, 120, 140, and 160 for 12 seconds respectively on each refinements. When the equipping character deals Lunar Bloom damage to opponents, they gain the Moon of Truth effect, and with this effect crit damage is increased by 24%, 30%, 36%, 42%, and 48% for 4 seconds respectively on each refinements. When both the Secret of Lies and Moon of Truth effects are active at the same time, the results of both effects will be increased by 50%. Along with this weapon, in version 6.1, there will be 2 more 4-star weapons. One weapon will be a polearm called Sacrificer Staff, and a catalyst called Frost Star. The polearm will have a base attack of 620, with a 9.2% base crit rate as a substat. With the passive skill of this polearm for 6 seconds after an elemental skill hits an opponent, attack is increased by 8%, 10%, 12%, 14%, or 16%, and energy recharge is increased by 6%, 7.5%, 9%, 10.5%, or 12% with a maximum of 3 stacks respectively on each refinements. This effect can be triggered even when the equipping character is off-field. As for the catalyst, it will have a base attack of 510 and 55.1% crit damage. And with the passive skill of this catalyst, for 10 seconds after a charged attack hits an opponent, elemental mastery is increased by 72, 90, 108, 126, and 144 respectively on each refinements. For 10 seconds after an elemental skill hits an opponent, elemental mastery will also be increased by 48, 60, 72, 84, and 96, respectively on each refinements. And that was everything new coming in version 6.1 as for now. So if you find this video helpful, do like this video and subscribe to my channel.